Hello and welcome back to Radio 43, the podcast from Hope Not Hate. And today we're talking about Tommy Robertson and why he's suddenly so focused on conflicts linked to the United Arab Emirates. Anyone who's followed Stephen Lennon, aka Tommy Robertson, of course, over the years will have noticed the vast amounts of money he's acquired through his hateful activism. Expensive clothes, large houses, flashy cars and blingy watches have all been funded by his gullible supporters. It's also well known that he's received financial backing from wealthy benefactors such as Elon Musk, Robert Shulman and the Middle East Forum. However, some of his recent social media activity raises questions about whether he might be receiving money from elsewhere. Or if not money, it certainly points to something strange going on. If you've been watching Lennon's social media account since he burst onto the scene in 2009, the content can feel repetitive. Endless posts about Muslims, migrants and transgender people, mixed with videos of him ranting to a camera, forehead vein pumping, while on holiday somewhere hot and sunny. Then, in October 2024, he released a slickly produced video that didn't quite fit his usual pattern. Standing by the Thames, Lennon launched into a furious attack on Qatar, shouting, "Fuck Qatar." The video appeared to be filmed by Visegrad 24, a so-called news outlet run by Lennon's long-term ally, Stefan Thompson. Towards the back end of 2025, he then released a series of posts that raised further questions. In September, he posted an attack on Turkey, accusing it of supplying weapons to one side in the ongoing Sudanese civil war. Now, it's extremely odd for Lennon, whose typical concerns are much more domestic, to appear invested in the Sudanese civil war. Moreover, these posts don't read like his usual content. Since when has Lennon been knowledgeable about Turkish drone technology and electronic warfare systems? He returned to the topic in October, posting, "The UK government, alongside the UN, pointing the finger at the UAE. They're complicit in the cover-ups and deaths of innocent people." Now, there's something weird going on here. Why would Lennon care about what's going on in Sudan? Now, we can't help but wonder if his sudden, detailed interest in the civil war might have something to do with a regional enemy of Turkey. The Sudanese civil war has attracted a number of proxy nations helping the different factions, and one has caught our eye, the United Arab Emirates. They're hostile to Qatar but back the rapid support forces that are at war with the military government, which is backed by Turkey. When these unusual posts are viewed together, a pattern emerges: the United Arab Emirates. The UAE backed a different side from Turkey in the Sudanese civil war and is also hostile to Qatar. Confusingly, Lennon's only previous mention of the Sudanese civil war came in 2024 when he criticised the UAE-backed rapid support forces. So, what has changed? The topic, the mention of specific weapons, and the overall tone all raise the question of whether Lennon actually wrote them himself. The picture becomes even murkier when one looks through Visegrad 24's feed on X, which is full of fawning pro-UAE content. The plot thickened at the end of last year when Lennon took a trip to Dubai. Now, most of the headlines focused on him being confronted by the boxer Ty Mitchell during an interview at the Misfits boxing event, but less attention has been paid to the primary purpose of the trip. "I'm here under the invite of Emiratis, who I'm here to meet tomorrow to discuss terrorism organisations in the UK," he said. In a video posted to a subscriber-only Substack, he added, "Do you know what's mad? I go to Colombia, I get detained, I get booted out. I go to Mexico, I get detained, I get deported. I landed here in Dubai, sailed through, I just sailed through." Before adding with a smile, "I wonder if I get, the accusations I get, you're a Zionist working for Israel. Do you think people will say I'm working for the UAE?" Not long back from the UAE, Lennon decided to start the year with a flurry of very specific X-posts about the ongoing war in Yemen. Once again, they don't read anything like his usual social media posts, and since when has the notorious anti-Muslim activist been into taking sides in conflicts like Yemen? Again, perhaps the UAE's involvement might provide an answer. The UAE has strongly backed the Southern Transitional Council against the Iran-aligned Houthi rebels and the Saudi-backed Presidential Leadership Council, which is internationally recognised as the government of Yemen. Now, perhaps all this really is a coincidence. Maybe Lennon has developed a genuine and passionate interest in the wars in Sudan and Yemen and a particular dislike of Qatar. Maybe he has been brushing up on Turkish drone technology and the complexities of cohesion in Southern Yemen. And maybe he decided to write these X-posts in a style he's never used before. Or perhaps something else is going on.
You've been listening to Radio 43, the podcast from Hope Not Hate. You can find out more about our work to challenge the politics of hate and extremism by visiting our website at www.hopenothate.org.uk. And remember to subscribe to the podcast to get every episode and investigation as soon as they're released. See you soon.